Alright, so welcome back to lesson 3 here, everybody. And as you can see, I've done a little bit of extra manipulation off screen here to get our body mesh to fit the concept that we had a little bit better. And I think that this shape actually works a little more, and I'll go ahead and be giving you guys this as well. Okay, so now we're ready to go ahead and start somewhat of the detailing phase. And what I mean by that is we're going to go ahead and put in the eyes. We'll go ahead and put in our mouth here, and we'll also go ahead and look at a way that we can go ahead and put in the spikes that are going to be on our back here. And then we're going to have to go ahead and do re-topology. So what we want to go ahead and first do here is we're going to need to subdivide this a couple times here. So if we take it up to our level 4 of subdivision, this should be good. But I want to make sure that we jump down to 3 here, and I want to take a look at the geometry before I go ahead and continue here. So we'll just go ahead and hit our geometry tab and hit our delete lower. This is probably going to be a little too high, so let's just jump back a step, and we'll jump back to 2 here. Okay, we'll go ahead and keep this for our minimum subdivision level here. So we'll have 3 levels right now instead of 4. Okay, so now we'll just go ahead and turn our polyframe off. Let's go ahead here and start with our mouth. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and grab our Damien standard tool, turn the intensity down here. Also go ahead and scale down our manipulation tool or our brush. And let's just go ahead and cut in where I think we can use our mouth. Okay. So this looks probably good, and let's just go ahead and start refining our mouth a little bit. And you're going to see that I'm going to be using the Damien standard brush, as you can see, to cut in our mouth here. And this is just going to allow me to go ahead and define where our mouth is going to be at. So let's just go ahead and cut this in. Okay, and we'll probably just have to take our smooth brush and we'll go ahead and smooth back some of the sides here. And we'll definitely have to, go ahead and inflate that as well and try to make the actual indentation a little bit better there. So we just want the mouth to basically sit cleanly. Okay, so with that done, we can maybe refine the shape here on the side just a little better. And this just takes a little bit of time and effort to go ahead and get this in. For right now, that's fine. So let's go ahead and bring in our eyes. So we just need to decide where on the face we actually want them. So let's just make sure that we go in a little bit here. That's probably not going to be the right area, so I want to move it over a little bit here. Okay, and that looks good. So let's just go ahead and append some subtools here. We're going to go ahead and append a sphere, just so we know where I want that sphere to be. So it's going to be the eye. So we'll just draw out our scale tool here, and we will go ahead and scale this down. Whoops, and I actually appended that wrong. I actually want to turn back on our mesh there. Okay, so we just need to go ahead and scale this down. Go ahead and just redraw it out here. Okay, we'll go ahead and move it up. And we'll just, try and place this basically where we want it. So we can just take our move brush, or our move tool, go ahead and move it over. Go ahead and zoom in a little bit here. Just switch back to our scale tool. Go ahead and scale this down. Take our move tool, and we're going to go ahead and move this into position here. have to scale it down. Go ahead and take our move. Just try to move it into position here where we want it. Okay, go ahead and move it over. It's probably going to have to come out here. And we'll have to shape the head around this a little bit, and that's fine. We just want to make sure that we get the tool to be basically where we want it. Okay, so now we can go ahead and probably scale this up just a little bit. We don't have to, make it so small. I want it to be somewhat large, so it gives it that cartoonish look to it. And I want to take a look at the actual size of the sphere here. Just to make sure that this is going to, fit correctly and properly inside of the actual head. So we'll go ahead and move it, say there. Okay, so we'll go ahead and take back our draw tool, switch back to our sub tool for our head, and you can see that I'm still mirrored, so I'm just basically going to be able to adjust it on, or be adjusting it on one side here. I'm not necessarily going to worry about the other side. Okay, so I want to shape around our eye here. And this is just so that I'm going to have the right form for the eye. Okay. So we can go ahead and grab our clay brush. Just make sure that we turn on our freehand stroke here. And we will go ahead and start forming around the eye here. And this is just basically to give us volume so that I can create the eyelids and the geometry that I'm going to need around the eye, so I can go ahead and shape it so that we actually have eyelids. Okay, so I can basically do that if I wanted to. So it's just basically going to, push out beyond the eye. Okay, so now I'm going to do the easy part here is smooth this down, and now I can really go ahead and cut in what is going to be the actual geometry for the eye. So we'll just take this and turn this into our sub. So it's going to subtract from the model. Okay. And I'm going to subtract in a way that it's going to be clean and concise here. Okay. And you can see that I actually probably did a little bit too much there. So we'll have to add for the top portion of the eye here. Okay. Go ahead and take our move brush, and we just need a smaller geometric size there, so I can go ahead and make the eyes as large as I want. And making sure that I'm not gonna, pull out too far here. The main goal here is just to basically make your eyes large, but not so large that it's going to be out of shape. And you can see where it's going to be basically simple to go ahead and make that eye form really well. So we'll just go ahead back a little bit here. And you can always, go ahead and use your Damien standard brush too to really outline that eye of where you want it. So then everything that we didn't sort of outline here isn't necessarily the eye shape. The eye shape is going to be on the outside of that sort of crease. So we can go ahead and take our inflate brush, just come back to our subtraction, go ahead and subtract that off of the actual geometric mesh here. Okay, so you can see where we're starting to get the form of that eye to be really clean. Okay, take our move brush. Maybe make that eye just a little bit larger. Like I said, it just takes a little bit of time to, go ahead and get that eye shape the way that you want. You just sort of have to really manipulate your geometry. So I'm just trying to clean up here what I want, so you can see where we have the shape pretty much in there, and we really just need to go ahead and refine here. So I'm just going to jump up to one more subdivision level and just making sure that I'm going to take this off as close as I can. Okay, so we can go ahead and fatten these outer portions of the eyelid up a little bit here. Okay. And I'm just trying to add thickness here because I want those eyelids to actually have some thickness so that whenever the model would go and get rigged, it's actually going to be easier for the animator and for the rigger to go ahead and create the rig around the eyes here. Okay. As you can see here, and I'm just going to have to go ahead and manipulate so this is going to be somewhat smooth because I don't want that faceted look to the eye. So go ahead and just grab our move brush and really just work on trying to get this to be pulled out properly. Okay. I don't want to pull that out too much. Maybe take and use our inflate brush here. Go ahead and grab our Damien standard brush. Okay, go ahead and grab our move tool. Maybe move this down a little bit. We'll also go ahead and take a look at the other side here. And you can see where our geometry is still pinching out a little bit. So we can go ahead and basically suck this all back in here. And you can see where, when I'm sculpting on the one side, that this side is adjusting, so you can really see what you're doing properly, and you really get a feel for what's going on. As you can see. Okay. So maybe we'll go ahead and add some more geometry on the top here. Maybe smooth this back a little bit. Okay, and if you want, you can always jump up in our subdivision level to really see how the smooth is working here. Okay. Maybe you have to turn that up a little bit so you can smooth out the actual geometry here. Okay. Let's go ahead and jump back and see how this looks, and you can see where the eyes aren't necessarily round, and that's not what we want. We want actual round eyes here. So we'll just take our move brush and try and get these eyes to be larger and more round, and might have to push these in a little bit. Okay. You can always go ahead and grab your pinch brush as well. and go ahead and pinch here, but you're going to have to turn this down to a very low geometry, or a very low intensity. And you'll see where I'm not actually pinching on the outside portion of the eye. I'm more or less touching on the inside portion. So it's basically sucking that geometry into what is the eye. Okay. I'm just trying to smooth that down here. Go ahead and grab our move brush. So I take some of this geometry down and just really refine the shape of the eyes here. Go ahead and smooth that out if you want to. Okay, we can always go ahead and fatten up our nose as well. So we'll just take our inflate brush, turn back on Z add, and we'll go ahead and just fatten that up a little bit. And you can see now where we have a difference between the actual nose and eyes. So we have a lot of shape in here. I'm just trying to smooth this out so that we get a clean and concise model here. So let's go ahead and mirror our eye geometry over. So we'll just select our eye geometry, go to our Z plugin, come to our subtool master. Okay. Go ahead and mirror. We're going to be mirroring this in the x-axis, and we're also going to merge it into one subtool instead of two. Okay, so now you can see where we have both eyes in there. Let's go ahead and just jump back to our body geometry here. And I'm not sure I am happy with those eyes, so I want to go ahead and just play some more with the shape here. Oh. And you can just take our pinch brush, just using a freehand stroke, maybe turn the intensity up here a little bit here. Okay, we'll go ahead and pinch that out. And maybe take our move brush, just adjust the shape here a little bit. Take our standard brush, go ahead and just do some adding on the actual geometry, just to try to refine that shape a little bit more. And we'll just have to continually smooth it down here. Just making sure that our eyes look the way that we want them. And it's looking okay. So let's go ahead and just maybe adjust this just a little bit more. That might be a little too much there. I just don't want them to be, too fat in terms of the actual geometry that we have here. Okay. So if you want, you can go ahead and take your spheres, go ahead and move them over a little bit. Maybe scale them up a touch. Okay. I think we're okay here. I just want to go ahead and adjust a a little bit more, just so that they're more round here. Just trying to push the actual eyelid geometry into the eye. And it looks like I'm going to need to pull this part down a little bit. Okay, just go ahead and smooth that out. So you can see now where we have actual eye geometry for our mesh here. And I'm just trying to make sure that we have, you know, the right amount of geometry versus the right amount of shape here. Just making sure that this is all formed, you know, at least properly here and in a way that I'm happy with. Okay, so I might need to go ahead and push the bottom in here a little bit. Okay, and that's good. So let's go ahead and grab our standard tool here. Go ahead and fatten it up for the last little bit here. And we'll just need to smooth it out just one more time. The ultimate goal is to make it easier for the riggers and for the animators to go ahead and actually have clean and concise shapes, so that whenever they go ahead and rig the eyes, it's going to be able to be manipulatable, and in a way that it's going to work well whenever they go to rig it. If we want to go ahead and fatten up the nose maybe a little more here. Okay. So we'll go ahead and smooth this out. Go ahead and retouch up the eyes for the last time here. Okay. And I'll make sure that I give you guys all these subtools so that you can go ahead and actually have fun sculpting and playing with it. Okay, so I want to go ahead and make sure that we don't have that much of a shape here on the side. I want to go ahead and smooth that down a little bit. So we'll jump up a couple subdivision levels, just trying to make sure that I don't actually touch the actual eye geometry here. So we'll have to go ahead and fatten up the face here just a little bit. Okay, go ahead and smooth that down. Okay, so with our eyes pretty much done here and our mouth pretty much shaped in, if you wanted to, you can always, just take your your standard brush here, come in here and fatten up the lips a little more. Maybe you need a different intensity here. And basically just smooth back the outside of it here, just so that you can actually add a little bit of depth on the lips here if you wanted to. And I'm just taking the smooth brush and smoothing back the outsides of it here, just so that there's really no major indentation on the lips and major shape actually on the lips here. Okay, so you just jump back and continually work on that shape. It looks like I might need to fatten up the front there. And yeah, so let's just go ahead and take our move brush and we'll just move it out more of a pointed shape. Oops. And that's looking pretty decent. Okay, so we'll call it a pause for this lesson, and then in the next lesson we'll go ahead and come back and start working on some of the spikes for his back. So go ahead and come on back.